Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Hey everybody, how are you this Saturday? We are getting downpours here, and that actually is what woke me up this morning. Was it was raining so hard that I woke up, and we are now under a flood warning because we are supposed to get at least an inch of rain today. So it's going to be a washout, and so I thought, why not go live? I'm not doing anything else on this rainy day. So, and like I had said yesterday, for those of you who saw my live, I missed doing my cases. So I think I'm going to dedicate my time at this point towards talking about those stories that impact me and that mean something to me and that maybe we haven't heard of. So before we start, I am going to say hi to everyone. It's been a while since I talked about a case. So Marlo Gus Jack 3, thank you for being here. I do listen just in the bushes. Hey Phyllis, John, Jenny, or Jeannie, I should say. Is it Jeannie? I think it's Jeannie. B. Ogden, Sunnyside, Stargazer Mom, thank you so much for becoming a new member, as well as Jeannie Junk Journal Book Lover. Welcome to the Stoners. And no, not that kind of stoner. Hey, AMAC. Lorton Girl, Bash, good to see you in chat and not in the bushes anymore. Hey, Jeff, Tennessee Poppy, Dimple Duck, Gizmo, hey, Ren, Melissa, and Phoenix, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Stoners. And if you are a member, I am doing a members only chat tomorrow. So I do have it open where anybody can watch, but only members can participate. And we are going to do a Would You Rather, because yesterday when I had my poll about Cheetos or Fritos, I was like, I remember when I was a lot younger, there was a website called Hot or Not. And so I'm like, that would be fun. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So if you are a member, you will be able to participate in chat. But even if you're not a member, you can still watch. So I decided to open it up for everybody to see. Hey, Skip to My Lou, Turtle and Turtle Lou coming in right after each other. Dragonfly, Sunshine, Petal, Tracy Esme. Hey, Gemini, Wayward Bound. Stargazer Mom, yes, so exciting. CR. I know, Dragonfly. So I had seen this yesterday. I believe it was, I feel like it was Down the Rabbit Hole news, but I can't remember where I saw it. And then Sinner sent me the story again this morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to go live. So I started reading it, and I was like, this is like, I don't even know how this could happen and for so long. It's just so sad. Hey, Misha. Hey, Laugh at Life. Stella Bella. Oh, you've got a flood watch also? Yeah. So, I mean, thankfully it's still pouring, but it's not like this morning it was like a waterfall. But it's supposed to be all day, but it is supposed to stop tomorrow. So that's always good. Hey, Fairy Meadows. Beach Life. Hey, Kay Canuga. We had that rain last night. Oh, fingers crossed for no more damage there. Yeah, I agree. Hey, A Story to Tell. Laugh at Life, absolutely. Can I tell people about a wonderful mortician that does support real green burials? Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of good people out there, and these people are just not good people. Hey, Kim, Evil Queen Yaya, T Scooby, Hippie, Pamela. Hey, Grandma Sherry. How are you? I saw that you moved. How is it where you are now? I'm sure you're super excited to be close to your grandkids. Hey, Yvonne, Kay, Revival. Hey, Queen Bella. Oh, you're out with the grandkids shopping. We'll have fun. Hey, Do You Know? And 5678. Hello, Laura Lee. Hey, Muffin Mouse. Oh, Muffin Mouse, I saw you this morning. Yes, I did. I saw you. I was in the bushes. Oh, John, you remember Hot or Not? Oh my gosh. That was like, it was something. Hey, Cheryl. Congratulations, Cheryl, on your beautiful little granddaughter. That's so sweet. Have fun. Hey, Beach Life, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Kate Kanuga, for now, I'm gonna take a pause, but I actually saw a video about another creator. I don't remember what her name is, but it was on another clip channel. I think it was like Trisha or Tasha, something. I think it was a T. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna, just take a break, especially now that I'm back at school and I don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna really focus on talking about cases that mean something to me. Hey, go Bulldogs. Queen Bella, yeah, want to become a stoner. Not that kind of stoner, yeah. Hey, Chris. Touch Grass. Yeah. I actually listened to Tiger Talks did a clip. Actually, Clipper and Tiger Talks did almost exactly the same clip of my live yesterday. And I hate hearing myself, but it was, listening back to it, I mean, it was pretty powerful. So, hey, Road Rash. I hope you aren't in too much pain. That's a really cool name, Road Rash. You have not, Shannon's Copper. So I actually had a comment made on one of my videos. I don't remember what the case was, but someone commented, like, can you stop talking so much? I want to hear the news. And I thought, well, we have to stop and talk because that's part of fair use. So I just thought it was a little rude. And I did remove the comment because nobody's got time for that. But that's why I talk at the beginning, because sometimes it takes people, like you might be doing dishes and you have to finish up the dishes before you get to the live, or maybe your notification came in late, So I just kind of, and I like saying hi to everybody that comes. Hey, Kelly Dime. Oh, Grandma Sherry, you're out shopping with them now. Stifler's mom says, this sounds gross, but it sounds like they got backed up cremating people who were to be cremated. I'm hoping we don't find out people got ashes that really weren't their family members. Ugh. And it doesn't happen a lot. Well, I don't know. I have to take that back. I don't know how often something like this happens. I know it's happened in the past where funeral homes were charging families to cremate their loved ones and then never doing the actual burial. So, I mean, this just seems, it was 115 family members. And to treat, someone's loved one the way that they did is just, I mean, it's deplorable. Tom says, we had local morticians in my area that did this stuff too, so it's not uncommon. Oh, and there's kind of, I didn't even see her comment until I was done talking. So yeah, it's awful. Yeah, we actually, well, I say we. There is a green cemetery. I don't think it's that close to me, but there is one around where they will plant a tree where you are located, so you can plant a tree. And I thought, that's really cool. Oh, Gizmo, you remember Hot or Not too? Oh my gosh, the things we used to do. Hey, Ariana's mama. Yes, Delabella, me too. Hey, Wise Angel. Yeah, Stargazer mom, I can, I can't understand fully, but I can, I can understand why why it is still that way. Oh, good. Yes. And so, if anyone uses their legal name as their username on YouTube, definitely change your name. So, Road Rash, and Elaine, that was a great name to pick. Road Rash. I like it. Muffin Mouse. Oh boy. K Kanuga has question marks. Don't know what that's about. Hey, Lemon Drop. Yeah, exactly, Melissa. And I mean, yeah, like a commentary YouTube channel and complain instead of just searching for the news video. Right. And I mean, that's what the point is, right? To have engagement, to talk to each other. And I haven't seen this for myself, but I have heard other creators say that YouTube likes you to engage with your audience initially. I don't know if it's true or not. That's just what I've heard other creators say. I obviously just like to talk, so if you don't like it, there's like you said, watch the news news clip. He runs with scissors. Oh, Ask a Mortician. Is that a YouTube channel? Oh yeah. So I'm gonna actually look that up. Oh, there it is right there. It came right up. I just subbed. I'm gonna put her link in the chat. Yeah, and if you have, like YouTube pages or creators that are associated or that, are relative to this story, absolutely. I don't mind you sharing it all. And then if we can find the link, we'll drop it. And, it's all about collaboration. Ugh, yard work. I still haven't done my yard work. I think I mentioned it last weekend. I still haven't done any of what I was supposed to do. Yeah, we do miss Bash. And if you haven't seen, Bash did drop a video this morning. It is the cutest thing ever. So definitely check out. Didn't the same kind of thing happen in New York last year? That I do not know. It would be interesting to Google, like, how, I don't know what the Google search would be. Like, I feel weird, like how would you search how often this happens? Hey, Spudler. Nikki O'Shea. I don't think I said hi to you. Hey, Leanne Lesney. Yeah, and I mean, it's Leanne, I agree. It's, I mean, I still will address or comment on some things that may be not okay, but as I said, I will not be mentioning that person by name or using her content. Hey, Petunia. You're late, but I haven't shown anything yet, so you're right on time. Wise Angel says our local authorities own our crematoriums in the UK and restrict the amount of cremations each day. Really? That's interesting. Road Rash was a game on Sega. See, I never had a Sega. We only had a Nintendo growing up. And then I did have a Wii for a little while, but I wasn't really a video game. Like, I did computer games mostly. All right, and I got to speed up because I'm really far behind. Hey, Crime Traveler. How are you? TLC. Oh, the question marks were about the person to tell me to stop talking. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, good. Laugh at Life. Yeah, I'm going to check her out. Oh, thanks, Flamingo Hunter. Make your day amazing, too. Oh, North California, the same thing happened. Hey, Cammie, you've heard of a similar case as well. Yeah, and I mean, it's just, like, I just like interacting with my chat. Like, I just don't like that I get so far behind and then have to skip forward and miss, some people's comments. Hi, Trina. Hey, Wine, Crime, and Mayhem. I think this happened in Georgia, the state, too. So that would be interesting. That's going to be like a rabbit hole that I might go on later, not during this live. But that would, I feel like it would be interesting to see how much it actually does happen and what the outcomes have been with those cases. Hey, Lisa, just saw the notification. Oh, speaking of coffee, so yesterday I meant to do my Walmart delivery order to be here early this morning. Forgot. So as I'm making my coffee, I'm like, crap. I have no creamer because I used it all up yesterday. So I was like, ugh. So I just made iced coffee instead because I can drink iced coffee without cream. Hot coffee without cream, I cannot do it. So I just made iced coffee, and so that's how I had my coffee. I was so disappointed in myself that I forgot to order creamer. Okay, so it prevents massive backlogs and allows them to give the correct ashes to the right family. That makes sense. So it's almost like a system where you have only a certain amount of people, and then it's more organized because there's less ways to make a mistake. Hey, Blink. Laugh at Life. I get it. That's one thing also that I want to get back to. Since I found YouTube, I have been ignoring and slacking on my work with my own genealogy and helping others with theirs. And I used to spend a lot of time in cemeteries, and I haven't really done it at all. And I miss it. So I really need to, I'm going to back away a little bit from YouTube when I can. Like, I obviously want to do, I'm going to keep my lives on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then probably Saturday afternoon every so often, and then Sunday night. But it's going to be more geared toward these stories. Hey, Thor. What, Petunia? This kind of funeral home stuff happens a lot. When I lived in St. Louis, they had dead babies stored in the ceiling. What? Oh my gosh, that's awful. Hey, Davis fam. Oh, actually, we did have an Atari when I was really young. I forgot all about that because it had the they were like the cartridges, but you stuck them on the top of it. And there was like Donkey Kong, Pac-Man. I feel like there was one more game that we had. That ball game, I don't know what it's called, but it has like the like the, I don't even know what it's called, but you move the platform back and forth and keep the ball from, falling all the way down. I don't remember what it was called, but I feel like that was Atari. Hey, Trust No One, Tia, Happy Watcher. Wow, so I wonder if the notifications went out late for some people, because a lot of people just came in. So this is why I said, this is why I say hi to people in chat, because sometimes the notifications don't go out. You're welcome, Stargazer. Yeah, and the memberships isn't, it's not even, it's cool, but I actually, the one thing that I want to do, and I don't know how to do this, is I only want to have one membership level, because I don't do the one-on-one chats or one-on-one video collaboration. Anybody can email me, anybody can chat in my chat, and unless there's a ton of people where I might miss comments, I just like engaging with everybody. So I have to figure out a way to do that, because some people may have gone with the higher level membership, but I don't know. I have to figure it out. Hippie says, I did a little research on cremation, and in other countries, the families show up and watch the cremation, so this could not happen. Here, no one goes to watch the cremation. That makes sense, too. I feel like it's maybe taboo here, but if it's my family member, I want to make sure that that's who's coming back home to me. Oh, thank you, Bash. You're going to send me a container of creamer? Yeah, and I knew it, because yesterday morning, I was going to go to the convenience store and get coffee, but I was running late because the kitten got out. So I had to use my own creamer, and I knew I wasn't going to have creamer for this morning, so I was going to order it. Well, I forgot. So there you go. They found these bodies in Penrose, Colorado. And we are going to get there. I'm almost caught up. Hey, Cammie. I feel like I said hi to you already, but I'm going to say hi to you again. All right, so we are going to get started. So, hey, Denise R. Charabolis. Yeah, there's some gorgeous cemeteries out there. And my TA actually went to Salem, Massachusetts this weekend. And she sent me a photo of a cemetery that they had visited. I was like, I'm so jealous. So, buffering for anyone else? I haven't seen buffering for me. Oh, I saw that, Laura Lee, the Israel thing. It's just, it's so sad. All right, so we're going to get started, because if I didn't say hi to you, hello. I really appreciate you being, oh my God, I just looked down. I have 158 people in here. That's insane. Anyways, welcome everybody. I'm very glad you're here on this rainy Saturday here. And so this is in Penrose, Colorado. It is a green green funeral home. And so the first thing I'm going to start with is an article that is from the Gazette. And this was from yesterday. Actually, let me refresh, because it says updated 13 minutes ago. Okay, so 59 minutes ago. So they actually did update this story since I went live. So, Return to Nature Funeral Home, details about the green burials business. All right. I was going to have it bigger, but it's not. The arrow is in the way. So, Return to Nature Funeral Home under investigation after more than 115 improperly stored bodies were found this week by authorities was established 6 years ago in Colorado Springs, according to public records and past Gazette reporting. Fremont County Sheriff Alan Cooper confirmed the grisly discovery during a news conference Friday morning. Investigators began searching the property located off Werner Road in Penrose, south of Colorado Springs, on Wednesday. Fremont County property records show that the funeral home building and lot are owned by Helford Homes LLC, a business with a Colorado Springs address that the Colorado Secretary of State's office declared delinquent on October 1st for failing to file a routine reporting form that was due at the end of July. Return to Nature has operated at several different addresses since its establishment in 2016. And here it says John Halford Wright was featured in a 2017 Gazette story about Return to Nature Funeral Home. Return to Nature Funeral Home performs, quote, green burials without embalming chemicals or metal caskets, and was touted as Colorado Springs' first green funeral home in a 2017 Gazette story. John Halford, wife Carrie Halford, and Jack Doogie opened Return to Nature Funeral Home, where customers can receive all the services of a traditional funeral home except embalming. It's different from human composting, where the body is transformed into soil. I knew through mortuary school about the cancer-causing chemicals, but never really thought about it, Halford said in previous Gazette reporting. My mind started shifting from, I hope I haven't given such an unpleasant experience to families, to, I have really been ingesting this stuff for so many years. The Return to Nature Funeral Home was licensed in Colorado Springs in 2017. According to documentation released by Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies, or DORA, an investigator ruled that the Return to Nature Funeral Home had been operating as an unregistered funeral home since its license expired nearly a year ago. So, lots of things happening here. And I just saw somebody tag me. Where did it go? No, I don't see it. Okay, so next we're going to go to a few videos, and then I do have the press conference that police gave yesterday. And again, some of these stories may have repetitive information, but each one is an updated story that may contain new details.
Can't even imagine this. The smell was so bad, neighbors called the sheriff's office to investigate it. What deputies discovered was so bad, the governor had to declare a local disaster emergency.
More than 115 bodies were found improperly stored in a funeral home in Penrose.
And so this is where when I first saw the story, I thought maybe they had been not inside the funeral home, possibly in, somewhere else. I just wasn't thinking they were inside the funeral home, because then I think about the number of loved ones that were there, and where would you put that many people? Funeral homes are rather big, usually bigger places in my opinion, but to store that many loved ones, I just don't understand how anyone would be able to function in that type of environment. or because their license expired, it seems like they were still planning funerals but not following through with said funerals. Or not necessarily the funerals, but the aftercare. Hey, language of horses. I live in Colorado. This makes me mad. Yeah, it's... Hippie says, I feel so sad about all the Ovid deaths, like Hartfield. Yeah, were piled in huge trenches right out of New York. Yep.
It's about 35 miles south and west of Colorado Springs. 9 News reporter Nelson Garcia has the latest.
In a place where people are supposed to pay their respects, investigators found the opposite, according to Sheriff Alan Cooper.
During the last 48 hours, my office made a very disturbing discovery in the town of Penrose, Colorado.
The Fremont County Sheriff says deputies found more than 115 bodies.
Oh, and I didn't mean to pause it. So looking at this funeral home, it doesn't appear to be that large. And so it just confuses me how, well, I mean, I thought when they said neighbors had called in a foul odor, I was thinking it was closer, but it does appear that, you know, the homes or businesses are not very close. So possibly that is why it took so long, but...
in the Return to Nature funeral home after reports of an odor.
The air of the funeral home where the bodies were improperly stored was horrific.
Horrific and dangerous, calling this funeral home an immediate...
Right. So to me, that isn't a very big establishment. And I mean, I'm used to funeral homes here in New York, but that just doesn't seem...
yet hazardous materials situation, which is so bad, the governor declared a local disaster emergency.
This case is my office's highest priority.
Return to Nature Funeral Home advertises so-called green burials, where bodies are not embalmed and sometimes buried in wicker caskets. But instead of burials, the sheriff says the 115 bodies were just sitting in a 2,500
square foot area. So I was correct. It's not very big at all. And I mean, 2,500 square feet is, for a house, I feel like that's a decent size. But for a funeral home, that doesn't seem very big to me at all. And then to think that there's 115 loved ones stored improperly, I can't fathom what that would look like.
square foot area.
That this is going to be a very, very lengthy process.
Randy Keller is the Fremont County coroner. He is now in charge of trying to figure out who these people are.
Forensic identification through fingerprints, medical or dental records, or possibly DNA will need to be completed.
He says it could take months, but he believes it's a job that needs to be done for the families who thought that those who died were laid to rest.
I want to assure everyone that the loved ones in this facility will be treated with the utmost care and respect.
The Fremont County Sheriff's Office is working with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the FBI. The processing of the bodies will be so extensive, the FBI plans to call evidence specialists from around the country to help. The funeral home's license expired last November. The thing about all this and the massive investigation unfolding is that law enforcement officers are not even sure if a crime has been committed. Alex?
What? That's crazy. That it's possible that a crime hasn't been committed. I mean, I would think, and again, viewer discretion advised, I would think abuse of a corpse would be high on the list.
It's hard to wrap your mind around that because this isn't the first time that we've had a funeral home in the news. I mean, the regulation, is it just not there?
Well, there is a weakness of regulation in the state of Colorado. We've been doing stories on that.
That's true. Fraud. Right. Fraud. Improper disposal of a body. Right. Like, so and again, I don't know Colorado law, but I mean, those are things that, come to mind.
And there have been instances in funeral homes along the Western Slope. And so this is just another example of regulatory oversight that apparently isn't there.
I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this in the weeks to come. Thank you, Nelson.
You're welcome.
And so they had said they hadn't had their license since last November. That's almost a year. And it's just, I want to know. So a question I have is, where was the oversight? Kind of like what the anchor had said at the end, like, who was holding them accountable? Who was, I don't know how that works, but everyone has someone above them. So who was keeping them accountable? Hey, Lone Wolf. And anyone else who I did not. Molly, hello. I didn't say hi. Hello. Thank you for being here.
Can't even imagine this. The smell was so bad, neighbors called the sheriff's office to investigate it. What deputies discovered was so bad, the governor had to declare a local disaster emergency.
Wait a minute.
More than 150.
Sorry, y'all. That's the same one.
Well, right now, FBI teams are on their way to a small town in Colorado where 115 bodies were discovered. Investigators say they were improperly stored in a building belonging to a funeral home.
Yeah, the scene, they say, could be so hazardous the building's been sealed off before investigators can actually take a closer look. Fox 31.
And so that tells you the magnitude of what was going on. They had to rope off the area before investigators could even enter the building.
Vicente Arenas has more from Penrose.
For much of this afternoon, people have been coming to this area to look at this building where 115 bodies have been discovered. Many asking, how could something like this happen here? At the center of the investigation is this building in Penrose that investigators say is owned by the Return to Nature Funeral Home. 115 bodies discovered improperly stored here, according to investigators, but it's not clear if a crime was committed. FBI teams that worked at the site of the 9/11 attacks and major plane crashes now coming here to try and figure out what happened.
I think we all have the same questions. Who specifically was impacted by this? How many were impacted? Who's responsible, and why did it happen?
Residents began smelling a stench in the area. The discovery was made after some kind of suspicious incident here Tuesday night. Jeanette Cantor is having a hard time believing what happened next to the post office she visits every.
So that makes me wonder too. So the post office was next door, and they haven't had their license since last November, so almost a year. Neighbors were just starting to smell the remains.
Every week.
Shocked. Just disbelief. This is such a small, sleepy town that you don't think that stuff like this is going to happen.
Penrose is a small town. A main road goes through the center of it. Small stores and a smattering of homes on each side in this town of 3,000. The funeral home that owns the building said on its website that it offered green funerals and burial of bodies that were non-embalmed. What was found here has people asking a lot of questions.
First of all, it was sadness. Like, I can imagine what their families are going through. It's unimaginable.
The Fremont sheriff says the building's too hazardous to enter and would not describe what first responders saw. The wait began.
And I would hope that they didn't discuss that, because I just think of the trauma that first responders and investigators will deal with. I can't imagine. And someone had said in chat, such a disgrace. Definitely. Like, so disgraceful and disrespectful, like just awful.
Begins now for teams of forensic experts to untangle a discovery that has left a small community horrified. The sheriff today said no arrests have been made in this case, and the governor has issued a disaster declaration. In Penrose, Vicente Arenas, Fox 31.
And I'm curious if a governor has ever declared such a thing in another case in regards to something like this, as opposed to flooding or tornado, a fire. That would be interesting to me to learn. So I have 2 more videos, and then we'll watch the press conference, and then we'll discuss and close things up.
Tonight, a gruesome discovery inside this Colorado funeral home.
Without providing too much detail to avoid further victimizing these families, the area of the funeral home where the bodies were improperly stored was horrific.
More than 115 bodies found improperly stored inside the...
So yes, Georgia, the pausing and starting is annoying. I understand that may be the case. However, to be in compliance with fair use, this is commentary, so the videos without commentary are available on YouTube. That's where all of these came from. But in order to not get a copyright strike or a strike on my channel from YouTube, I do need to pause and give commentary.
The 2,500 square foot site, according to the Fremont County Sheriff. Hazmat teams called to secure the building as law enforcement executed a search warrant.
It is a very tragic situation, and as I've stated, there are a lot of decedents there, but I don't really want to go into the scene itself.
The disturbing discovery made at the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose, about 100 miles south of Denver. The business's website offering green burials without embalming. Bodies often laid to rest in biodegradable caskets like this one made of wicker, or in some cases buried in nothing at all. State records show the funeral home's registration with the state expired on November 30th of last year. The State Department of Regulatory Agencies documenting complaints about an abhorrent smell emanating from the property on October 3rd, according to this report. When investigators reached the...
So don't sweat the small stuff. They were not cremated. They were placed in biodegradable caskets, so to speak. So the remains of these loved ones were in the funeral home.
Owner John Halford by phone, he acknowledged that he has a problem at the property and claimed that he practices taxidermy there. The Halfords did not return our requests for comment.
We want to process this scene as quickly as possible.
The county sheriff declaring a local emergency disaster, calling in state and federal agencies, including the FBI, to provide specialized support.
These are teams with additional training and specialized equipment that serve to process scenes of national magnitude. To include the response to 9/11 and major airline incidents.
The county coroner tasked with identifying the remains and notifying families.
Forensic identification through fingerprints, medical or dental records, or possibly DNA will need to be completed. This could take several months.
Return to Nature also operated a second location in nearby Colorado Springs. Mary Simon says she entrusted her husband Daryl's remains to that facility for cremation in August and was still waiting to receive his ashes.
Okay, so it appears that they do also do cremations. However, based on the story of the funeral home in Penrose, they had said bodies and not remains. So I'm going to say that bodies is that they were not cremated.
Devastated. I feel like I've lost my husband all over again.
Now she's nervous about where he could be.
I'm terrified that my husband's in that mess there. I'm terrified that he's didn't get cremated.
And Valerie joins us now in studio. So Valerie, listening to that woman, you can understand her anguish, her worry. What sort of charges, if any, could the owners be facing?
So right now the sheriff's department says that's unclear and that will all be part of this longer investigation, but that could take several months. The state regulatory agency that wrote up that report, they do allege that the owner attempted to conceal the improper storage of human remains. So that will probably play into that investigation. The FBI is also launching a federal investigation to see if any federal laws were violated. And Ellison, we should note that in the state of Colorado, it is not required to have a license to be an individual funeral home operator.
Thank you, Twin Thing. Cremation at that facility stopped in July of this year, and we're solely doing natural burials.
Only the businesses require to be licensed with the state.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
Wasn't a funeral home in Connecticut found with bodies in the walls and ceilings? That I don't know, but I will definitely Google that. So I have one more video before we get to the press conference, and this talks more about the governor's declaration. Oops, sorry, y'all. Didn't mean for that to happen.
The local disaster declaration by the governor is also very important as this investigation moves forward. Hazmat teams on scene right now. That declaration will free up more resources and manpower moving forward. Besides, Maggie Bryan is live in Penrose with more on just how extensive this effort from the state agencies has become. Maggie?
Yeah, Robin, some of those agencies still here tonight. The Fremont County Sheriff says that this case is his highest priority right now. Even funeral directors from across the state say they are on standby and ready to help families affected.
During the last 48 hours, my office made a very disturbing discovery in the town of Penrose, Colorado.
The shocking discovery of more than 115 improperly stored bodies at a funeral home in Penrose.
We just started noticing some smell about 2 weeks ago.
Is prompting assistance from agencies across the state and nation.
The area of the funeral home where the bodies were improperly stored was horrific.
This is going to be a very, very lengthy process.
The Fremont County coroner says it could take months before the scene at Return to Nature Funeral Home is cleared and the remains are identified.
Forensic identification through fingerprints, medical or dental records, or possibly DNA will need to be completed.
Governor Jared Polis declared an emergency disaster for the county on Thursday night, which will help bring in resources from state agencies like the Emergency Operations Center. The FBI is also on scene and says it will be bringing in specialized teams from Quantico, Virginia to process the scene.
These are teams with additional training and specialized equipment that serve to process scenes of national magnitude, to include the response to 9/11 and major airline incidents.
The Fremont County coroner says coroner's offices from across the state are standing by to help identify bodies.
Families will be notified as soon as absolutely possible.
The president of the Colorado Funeral Directors Association says their members are ready to help families needing proper burials.
This is such a horrific tragedy. This should never happen any place, much less in Colorado. At this point, all of the Colorado Funeral Directors Association member firms are on standby to help in any way that we can.
And although the smell is still a little bit unpleasant out here, the Fremont County coroner says there is no public health risk to neighbors in this surrounding area. The sheriff says that in the next few days to expect some tents, maybe some fencing to go up around the building so that they can get ready to move the remains from out of the funeral home. In Penrose, I'm Maggie Bryan, News 5.
Gosh, so based on that report, which was
Tonight, President Biden
from yesterday, they have not removed the remains from the building as of yet. Okay, and we will take a look at the press conference. It is about 18 minutes long.
Brick by brick with our extensive knowledge and an endless selection of LEGO products. With the largest assortment of new, used,
Alan Cooper, ALLENCOOPER, and I am the Sheriff of Fremont County. During the last
Oh, give me 1 second. I did not want to do that.
48 hours, my office made a very disturbing discovery in the town of Penrose, Colorado. There have been a lot of questions and concerns expressed by the community, especially those families who entrusted their loved ones to this funeral home. Our priority and our focus is on the impacted families. My office and our team of investigators, including crime scene specialists, victim advocates, and many others working this case, are committed to finding answers for the families as quickly as possible. We're committed to supporting the families throughout this process with a comprehensive investigation along with our victims advocates. I'll give you a brief timeline of the events. On October the 4th, investigators from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agency discovered over 115 deceased bodies stored in the Return to Nature Funeral Home at 31 Werner Drive in Penrose, Colorado. Due to the magnitude of this situation, my office requested assistance from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to utilize their resources. Fremont County deputies and the Fremont County coroner, state and federal officers worked late into the evening last night to determine the scope of this scene. Without providing too much detail to avoid further victimizing these families, the area of the funeral home where the bodies were improperly stored was horrific. To give you an idea of the scope of this search, the area to be searched is over 2,500 square feet. While we want to process this scene as quickly as possible, the safety of the investigators entering the funeral home is of critical importance. Hazardous mitigation will be the first priority, and the FBI will survey and mitigate as needed before the ERT enters the scene with our teams on the ground. We're working to determine how long this process will take. After the scene is made safe and the appropriate personal protective equipment is issued, dignified treatment of the deceased is our next priority. Fremont County Coroner Randy Keller is working on securing trucks and making the process secure.
And his volume is really low. That's why I haven't been commentating. I have him up as far as I can. I don't know what it is with press conferences. Their volumes are not great, but I will put it up as far as I can.
From the public view with tents or fencing designed for that purpose. Once the remains are removed, they will be transported for identification. Then notifications to immediate family members can begin. Coroner Keller will be overseeing this process and will have more details in just a moment. With regard to the investigation, there have been no arrests to date, and we don't want to speculate about arrests or possible charges at this time. We're focusing on our investigation and our victims. We're working closely with the 11th Judicial District Attorney's Office and the U.S. Attorney's Office on all aspects of this investigation, along with our state and federal partners. I'd like to close by letting the impacted families know that this case is my office's highest priority, and we will do all within our statutory authority and assessing every resource available for the resolution that you deserve. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Randy Keller. I am the Fremont County Coroner. My name is spelled R-A-N-D-Y-K-E-L-L-E-R. I want to assure everyone that this will be a very thorough and complete death investigation with decedents and their families being treated with the utmost care and respect. Earlier this week, we were contacted by the Fremont County Sheriff's Office about a report of an odor coming from the Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose, Colorado. Working closely with the Department of Regulatory Agencies and the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, a warrant was received allowing us to enter the facility. After making entry into the facility, we found over 100 decedents who were improperly stored and has created a hazardous scene. We are in the very early stages of this investigation. At this time, I am in the process of gathering resources and assistance necessary to conduct our investigation and respectfully remove decedents from this facility. I have alerted the Colorado Coroners Association Coroner Assist Team, who stand ready to assist and provide additional resources. I have also made arrangements with the El Paso County Coroner's Office and the Douglas County Coroner's Office for their assistance. Fremont County has declared a local disaster emergency, which makes state resources available to us. Numerous other agencies, including but not limited to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and the Colorado Emergency Management, are either already on site or en route to assist with our investigation. We have established a family crisis center and a phone line for concerned family members to call and provide information about loved ones who may be involved in this tragic situation. I believe that information is available on our Fremont County Sheriff's Office site in regards to the phone number and an email address. In closing, I would like to state that this is going to be a very, very lengthy process. Forensic identification through fingerprints, medical or dental records, or possibly DNA will need to be completed. With the number of decedents we have in this facility and the identification process that needs to be completed, this could take several months. As we identify each decedent, families will be notified as soon as absolutely possible. I want to assure everyone that the loved ones in this facility will be treated with the utmost care and respect. Our hearts go out to everyone impacted by this tragedy, and we will take every measure possible to get families the answers they deserve. Thank you.
Late Thursday night, Colorado Governor Jared Polis issued a verbal disaster declaration for the Penrose incident, and today I received confirmation that disaster declaration is in place. As I talked about it earlier, we have a tremendous amount of support from our state and federal partners, and I'm extremely thankful for that, because that would be very taxing for an agency my size. So we have, that I know to date, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Governor's Office of Emergency Management, Federal Bureau of Investigation, DORA. Am I missing anybody? I think that's it. And there may be more added to that later on. Vicki, anything else to add? Yes, absolutely. One of our federal partners.
Good morning. My name is Mark McCulloch, M-A-R-K-M-I-C-H-A-L-E-K, and I'm a special agent in charge of the FBI's Denver field office. We at the FBI extend our deepest sympathy to the families of the decedents, the community,
I'm going to end that there just because I did find some other articles that people had in chat had brought up. So again, that was in Penrose, Colorado, which is south of Colorado Springs. And that is the location where 115 bodies of loved ones were found in what was described as disturbing conditions. Scamdra Grifton. Welcome to the stoners. And no, not that kind of stoner. So the first one, someone had brought up one in New Hampshire and then one in Idaho. So I did find an article on both of them. If you have other stories that you think you may have heard of or know of, we can definitely discuss them. And oops, let me share this. So this was from the Cape Cod Times, and this was May 22nd, 2005. However, it was updated on January 6th, 2011. And it says, New Hampshire crematory probe produces remains of at least 25 more bodies. Investigators looking into the operations of the Bayview Crematory in Seabrook, New Hampshire, keep finding more questions than answers, and the latest involved cremated remains of at least 25 bodies confiscated when police raided 2 Massachusetts funeral homes. Rockingham County Attorney Jim Reams said the remains had been cremated at Bayview, and the documentation police found did not clearly identify all of them. So NH. Okay, so now I'm confused because they're talking about New Hampshire, but then they're talking about Massachusetts. Let me keep reading. Authorities found the remains in urns on May 13th when they raided the Hart Wallace Funeral Home in Lawrence and Simplicity Burial and Crematory in Salisbury. The former owner of Bayview Crematory, Derek Wallace, owns Hart Wallace Funeral Home and co-owns Simplicity Burial and Crematory. I don't see them. Wine, Crime, and Mayhem. So I'm guessing my mods may have taken care of that. We've had families call us and say they are trying to locate their fathers, brothers, or some family members' remains. The families are anguished. They want answers. Reams said the goal of the raid was to determine whether there is a current link between the funeral homes in Bayview and who controls and owns Bayview. Records show Wallace owned Bayview Crematory, but sold it in 2002 to his mother and stepfather, Linda and Larry Stokes. Authorities allege he was trying to bypass a Massachusetts law prohibiting a funeral home owner from having a financial interest in a crematorium. Wallace's and the Stokes' homes were also searched. They have not been charged with any crime. New Hampshire authorities investigating Bayview found that it was operating without a license. In February, police found the partially decomposed body of a woman in a non-air-conditioned room there and 2 sets of human remains in an oven. An outside trash bin was overflowing with medical waste. 4 sets of remains seized at Bayview still have not been identified. And again, this was in New Hampshire in 2005 was the initial story, and it was updated in January of 2011. Yeah, hippie, exactly. Whoever cashes the checks, that's who owns it. Oh, the state of Georgia. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. There was someone in here named Georgia, so I thought that was who we were speaking of. Okay, I gotcha. So someone had also brought up Idaho, and so this was more recent. This was in 2021, and this is from the eastidahonews.com. At least 12 bodies, 50 fetuses found inside Pocatello Funeral Home. So Downard Funeral Home, serving all faiths with dignity. Police have positively identified 5 bodies found at Downard Funeral Home, are working to identify 7 others, and the remains of approximately 50 fetuses have been turned over to the Ada County coroner. The Pocatello Police Department said Monday it is working with a local funeral home in the Bannock County Coroner's Office to contact family members of the deceased. At this time, detectives believe that decedents who were scheduled to be buried were buried, and the unidentified individuals that were found had been scheduled for cremation. The remains of approximately 50 fetuses found at the scene are now in the custody of the Ada County coroner for further investigation. Detectives are awaiting the results from the Ada County coroner's investigation to determine the exact number of fetuses. Police have received hundreds of tips and requests for information since news broke Friday that multiple decomposing bodies and fetuses were found inside Downard Funeral Home. The business was previously in charge of donating cadavers to Idaho State University for scientific study, but the relationship ended last year after the university had stopped receiving donations for a period of time. In the process of ending this relationship, the university discovered some families believed the remains of their loved ones had already been donated. However, the university had no record of ever receiving those bodies. To help expedite the funeral home investigation, the Pocatello Police Department is asking concerned citizens to report questions and tips at this website. Scroll down and click on information or documentation only report. So they have all of these different places. So that was in Idaho. And so now I'm going to look at, Georgia. So if I do, oh my word. Holy crow. Okay, so this is insane. So this is in Georgia, and this was February 16th, 2022 is when the story was from. But again, the title is 20 years ago, nearly 350 decomposing bodies were found at a Georgia crematorium. Oh, Wise Angel, that's interesting to know. If you want the cremains returned to us, they cremate separately. Oh, perfect, Infamous. I will take a look at that. So this is in Noble, Georgia. This week marks 20 years since the start of one of Georgia's most gruesome and bizarre sagas, the tri-state crematory scandal. The case shocked the world and played out like a horror movie. In February of 2002, nearly 350 decomposing bodies were found on the property of a crematorium in Noble, Georgia that had never actually been cremated. Noble is a tiny community in northwest Georgia. Since the mid-1970s, the Tri-State Crematorium had provided cremation services for a number of funeral homes in Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. It was originally founded by Tommy Marsh, a respected businessman who eventually turned the operation of his business over to his son, Ray Brent Marsh, in the mid-90s. Ray Brent Marsh would later be convicted of numerous charges, including abusing a corpse, burial, service-related fraud, and theft by deception. He served 13 years in prison and was released in 2016. But on the day that investigators first walked onto the property, they likely had no idea the horror show they were about to witness. Investigators working off an anonymous tip found piles of decomposing human bodies in a storage shed, in vaults, and scattered inside the outside of the property. In total, 334 bodies were recovered, out of which only 226 had been identified. Investigators determined that instead of the remains of their loved ones, Marsh had given families concrete dust instead of cremated remains. I can't, I don't even know if there's a word for that type of behavior, but the deceit and disrespect, greed, I mean, what makes the case even more bizarre is that it likely would have been easier for Marsh to simply cremate the bodies than to hide them on his property. Marsh has never given much of an explanation for his actions. His attorneys revealed that physiological testing had indicated that Marsh was a victim of mercury toxicity from the cremation of bodies with mercury dental amalgam. Defense attorneys said that a faulty ventilation system exposed both Marsh and his father to toxic levels of mercury. Channel 2's Dave Huddleston spoke to his attorney, McCracken Poston, who said he still talks to Marsh often. There was nothing untoward done to these bodies other than not incinerating them. Poston said that in the 20 years since the case unfolded, the community in Walker County has worked to move on. All is well, and I hope the community has healed. In 2016, Marsh wrote an apology letter to his victims and the community, reading in part, "Moving forward, I can assure everyone that my life and deeds will not only prove the sincerity of my words, but my desire to lead a life that is worthy of this community." He is now on probation for the rest of his life. The conditions of that probation include getting a job. For some of the families victimized by Marsh, that sentence was not nearly enough. Veronica Lively's grandmother, Helen McKinn, was one of the bodies that was recovered from the facility. "My family served. My family. He got a 12-year sentence. My family got a lifetime sentence of hard. Nobody will ever know the extent of the horror that was up there. It's really scary to be in the same community with a person who could do that. What else is he capable of?" And we'll take a look at this video. Now playing above. Maybe I can't. Oh, here. This is very bizarre, the way this website is set up.
We got tipped off to Ray Brent Marsh's release today and stayed in place for 10 hours to get this video right here of him walking out a free man. We also caught up with him when he returned home after serving 12 years for stashing hundreds of bodies instead of cremating them. Our live Team 2 coverage begins with Channel 2's Ross Cavett. And new this hour, he has details of why he likely won't hear from this man following his release. Ross?
Ray Brent Marsh is home after serving every day of his 12-year sentence. His attorney telling me it's the first time he's had a non-violent offender not get an early release or parole or something like this. How does Ray Brent Marsh feel about being out, or what would he say to the victims so profoundly impacted by the events 14 years ago? We may never know. Besides a brief apology during his plea deal 12 years ago, Ray Brent Marsh has not said anything about the strange events at the Tri-State Crematory, and he wasn't about to talk to me at the prison, nor to others at his Walker County home.
If he ever says anything that it's interpreted that he makes anything from it, it triggers a provision in the sentence where he owes Walker County $8 million. So that could cause you to be
Wow, $8 million?
a little quiet, I think.
That provision was designed to keep Marsh from making a book or movie deal or anything to profit off the tragic scenario discovered by the GBI in 2002. More than 330 bodies found on the tri-state site. The bizarre situation prompted authorities to pile up 787 felony charges against Marsh with a potential sentence in the thousands of years. Poston thought the 12-year sentence was a good deal and thought since Marsh was a nonviolent offender, he'd have a crack at parole.
Brent Marsh was Georgia's political prisoner.
In a statement to us, though, the parole board says they did consider Marsh for parole in 2008 and 13, but denied him. So Marsh got out on the final day of his 12-year prison sentence, hoping, his lawyer says, to quietly fade away.
I just want people to leave him alone, give him a chance.
And I feel like that's easier said than done. Again, I can't say how I would react if this situation were to happen to me. However, to say that people should give him a chance, I don't think, in my opinion, that's fair to the families who were ultimately betrayed and their family members were treated with such disrespect.
Before even going home today, Marsh's first stop with his attorney was the local probation office in Walker County. His plea deal essentially keeps him on probation for the rest of his life. We're live at GBI headquarters. Ross Cabot, Channel 2 Action News.
Okay, and Infamous Truth Teller did send me another story that I am going to talk about. I'm just going to take a gander at, and Sinner had said Mad Hatter disease is a form of chronic mercury poisoning. Depending on the level of exposure, it can cause symptoms like vomiting, skin rashes, tremors, twitching, and excitability. So based on that, in my opinion, wouldn't give a reason for this man to act the way he did and not take care of deceased people. So this next story is from the Toronto Star. So I'm going to read this and then we are going to wrap up. So this is, again, thank you, Infamous Truth Teller, for sharing this. This is from the Toronto Star. And this is from Friday, April 3rd, 2009. Tall man was cut short to fit his coffin. James Hines was a giant, a 6'7", 300-pound preacher and funk musician so big that after he died in 2004, a macabre rumor began circulating in the small town that the Undertaker had to cut off his legs to fit him in the coffin. This week, after years of whispers, Hines's body was exhumed, and the gruesome story appeared to be all too true. The coroner's office said only that it had found, quote, undesirable evidence, end quote, and a criminal investigation has been opened. But Hines's widow said investigators told her that his legs had been cut off between the ankle and calf, and his feet had been placed inside the casket. It's just like pulling the scab off an old sore. I was kind of like smoothing things out, but now it's like starting all over again, Ann Hines said Thursday, 2 days after investigators pulled the casket from the ground, lifted the lid, photographed the contents, and returned it to the earth, all without leaving the graveyard. Under South Carolina law, destroying or desecrating human remains is punishable by 1 to 10 years in prison. Reached this week, a man who identified himself as the owner of Cave Funeral Home, which handled the funeral, declined to comment. The allegations were so startling that funeral directors around the country are talking about the case. You hear old wives' tales about this around the turn of the century, but no, this was a shock to me, said Doggett Whitaker, a past president of the National Funeral Directors Association. So I agree with the widow, and I'll have to look into that more because it didn't really say why they did what they did at the time. Oh, I pronounced it right? Oh, awesome. And I saw a comment that I wanted to... Oh, here. So Mona Lisa said, I understand what you're saying, Emmy. However, nothing but a life sentence would probably be enough for family members. When a person served their entire sentence, they should be left alone, in my opinion. I agree. And I agree with leaving that person alone. I had just thought, for people to give them a chance. But then again, forgiveness is huge. And being able to forgive someone for their misgivings can be very liberating. So definitely agree with that statement. Oh my gosh, there are many things you can do with cremated remains now. Tattoos, make them into precious gems like diamonds and sapphires and much more. Oh no, Elizabeth PCB. Sorry, typing with my left hand. My right hand is completely out of commission. Well, I hope that your right hand is working well soon. Sometimes I only type with one hand and I have such bad errors, and I don't care. As long as it kind of makes sense, it works for me. Oh, Wise Angel says, we also have a pet charity which helps you with medical costs for a donation. Some people don't donate, though, yet we always do. Yeah, and I think, Wise Angel, you had mentioned, I had seen in the comments about a pet cemetery. Oh my gosh, she has a book, Laugh at Life? Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to check into that. That seems like a really fun read. A quick read, actually. Okay. Infamous Truth Teller. So maybe I could do a live on that story. Just, kind of give more context, and I don't understand why. So this was years ago, like years ago. After I graduated with my bachelor's, I got a summer job. Actually, I was going for my master's, and I got a summer job where they were building something. And in New York State, which I'm guessing most states are the same, if you come upon human remains, the authorities must be notified. So, while they were building this building, they came upon human remains. Long story short, it ended up being an old 1800s almshouse cemetery. And there were hundreds of individuals buried there. And as I was going to school for forensic anthropology, this was the internship of a lifetime, so to speak. And so I worked at excavating human remains from the 1800s. And I eventually got blackballed from the premises because the funeral home that was appointed to move the remains respectfully to a new location were cutting corners and putting more than one person in a casket. So they were making money per remain, but they were saving money by putting several remains in one burial. That's a whole different story. What I was going to say is one of the remains that were excavated was a man who was 7'1". His legs were not cut, as in that story that we just read. He was squished into the wooden coffin. So his legs were, I mean, you could tell he was squished in because his knees were bent. So they squished him in and buried him intact. So my point is that a funeral home in the 2000s could have been much more creative in their attempt than to do what they did. Because if they could squish a 7'1" man into a coffin in the 1800s, you could figure something out in the 2000s for someone who was 6'7". Just saying. KB Investigates. Thank you so much for being a member for 3 months. So proud to be a member of this channel. I am very happy you're here, as well as everyone else. Hey, Striker Force. So Lisa, I'm going to have to look up. I have news articles from when I remember the year, but I'm not going to say the year because then I'll have people, looking it up and seeing where I worked for that summer. But there were hundreds. And in New York State, I'd have to see if the laws have changed, but back then you only had to excavate the remains in the perimeter that you were going to build. So this building is still surrounded by additional remains, if that makes sense. So only the remains in the perimeter where they were going to build were excavated. The others remained in their resting place. The one interesting thing, so now I could do a whole live on this actually, but real quick before I close this up, there was one burial that was buried. This woman was buried in an iron casket. So she was quite preserved. And it was a story of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like, oh my God, the word is like right in my head and I can't think of it. Oh my gosh, it's right there. Oh my word. Well, anyways, maybe somebody can think of the word when I tell the story. So controversy. Oh, how could I not think of the word controversy? I think it was macabre. Macabre must have got my head all like whirled up in there. But controversy because in that during those times, being buried in an iron casket meant you had wealth or money. And so for this woman to be buried with those who were poor, homeless, indigent, handicapped, was mysterious. And I don't believe, I'd have to look back at all of my information from there, but I don't believe that she was ever identified. But yeah, that was a really interesting story. Yeah, and then Cammie, yeah, there's no place harder to find where people were buried than New York. And you have Potter's Field, which is off of New York City, where you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, weren't identified. So they were brought to Potter's Field. Petunia, no. And honestly, I will check it out later, but honestly, this is about this story, but I will check it out eventually. Yes. And I will ask, for those of you who do bring up the person that shall remain nameless, use a different name, because I don't want you to be her reason to continually attack me, or even more sad is to attack you. So yes. But with that being said, I hope that all of you have a great rest of your day. And Daisy Duck, I was calling that person Bertha. And for some reason, I don't know. So just another quick story. So Orange is the New Black. I loved that show. Loved it. And I watched several seasons of it. And then I ended up canceling Netflix. And I don't even know if it's still on. I think it did end. Anyways, I just think of like that. You just think of that show and you think there should be someone named Bertha. So I'm going to refer to them as Bertha. Ooh, apple dumplings. Yum. Yes, Potter's Field. Yep. All right. So again, if you have any stories that you want me to look into, I'm going to put my... Oh, hey, Sita Jones. What's going on? Not Bertha. Okay, well, I mean, I was trying to think of an acronym, but nothing was coming to mind, so I just went with Bertha was the first thing that came to mind. So if you have anything, please send me an email and I will take a look. I have some emails that I've gotten stories, and with everything happening, I have not gotten to it, but I have not forgotten you. I need to catch up on emails. It's just taking a little while, but no sinner. That's too many syllables. But oh, absolutely, Scamdra. Absolutely. Yes. And actually, before I go, because I've been getting a lot of comments that people cannot find my email, I just want to show where you can find my email on my page. I mean, I think it's on a phone, but just to see where my email is. So when you come to my live my page, you will see this. If you scroll all the way over to about, and you scroll down, you're going to see here under details, it says for business inquiries. If you click on that, it's going to show you my email. So my email is there, but I don't remember if, actually, let me check quick if I can see it on my phone. I feel like you can see it on my phone. Oh, you cannot. Okay, so I have an Android. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to change my description. I'm going to put my email before the Cash App. So you're only able to see my email on a computer. I can't see my email on my phone. I did not realize that. So I'm glad I decided to talk about this. So I will be adding my email to the description after this live so that way my email is there on my about page. I know, I'm almost to 3,000. I know, I saw that. I was like 300 away when I looked this morning, and I was like, awesome. Awesome. How about we don't talk about other things at all? I don't know what that's about. So, anyways, anything that you want to share with me, feel free to email me. I am, like I said at the beginning of the live, I am going to have a members only chat tomorrow. It is going to be Would You Rather? So it's just going to be a bunch of polls, have fun, shoot the breeze. So with that being said, I hope you all have a great night. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.